seminary, Manus became immersed in the life of the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, the premier civil rights leader in Birmingham, Alabama, and a close ally of Dr. King's. This immersion resulted in a biography entitled "A Fire You Can't Put Out: The Civil Rights Life of Birmingham's Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth," published in 1999, and it won several awards. Manus's most recent book, "Macon Black and White: An Unutterable Separation in the American Century," chronicles race relations in that central Georgia city across the 20th century. It tries to understand why white residents in that city have had such a hard time relinquishing their beliefs in white supremacy. Post-racial America, are you kidding me? Dr. Manus.
Because we white people are the ones who started this diabolical habit of claiming superiority for all things white and European while demonizing everything black and African. When white people were constituting our form of government in Philadelphia, they debated how to count the people that everybody knew were slaves. But they in effect denied that what they were dealing with was slavery and decided to count just 3/5 of those, quote, other persons without actually putting the words slavery or slave in the Constitution. We built, and for 225 years defended, a system of forced labor that was deliberately designed to put African Americans, as Stevie Wonder once sang, in the back of the line when it comes to getting ahead, while denying that the same system that put blacks in the back was also a system designed to put whites in the front of the same line. We denied the Spirit of Christ by turning the Bible into a book that defended the buying and selling and killing and maiming of human flesh and the breaking of the human spirit. When the Civil War ended that hell-conceived institution and gave America the chance to do the right thing, instead of compensating the slaves, the former slaves, with a mule and 40 acres to build their new lives on, they could have done it, they voted not to. White America was content to grant them nothing but freedom, as one historian has written about Reconstruction. Then when northern white people got tired of supervising the South and looked the other way after Reconstruction, we southern white people decided to pass Jim Crow laws that took away the crumbs of freedom that we had fairly recently granted to African Americans. When the 15th Amendment promised to protect black voting rights, we southern people voted for new state constitutions that ingeniously disfranchised all but a handful of black voters, and then we celebrated that once again the South was white man's country. When black soldiers were sent to Europe wearing khaki uniforms to defend the red, white, and blue, we white people, and then they returned hoping that somehow America might be safe for democracy. White Americans greeted them on their return with riots and ropes and rifles and lynching trees. When America sent black soldiers to win a victory over a super race in Europe, we white people railed against the NAACP for trying to win a double victory over segregation at home. Said, why you want to dredge up that issue when we're in the middle of a war? When the federal courts in the 60s finally ordered the desegregation of public schools, large numbers of us white people lined up to terrorize the young students who went into those schools, who withstood the taunts. And then then after the civil rights movement, with the white backlash, when national politicians turned into George Wallace's without the Southern accent, but with the Southern strategy of exploiting racial resentments with code words like quotas, affirmative action, welfare queen, states' rights, a majority of white voters embraced them like saviors. No, race still matters in America. And anyone who thinks that one election of one politician cancels out our 400-year love affair with white skin has no idea how deeply white supremacy has been woven into our history and our culture, and how fervently committed to it we have been in this country. And you can't cut the Gordian knot, you certainly can't untangle the Gordian knot of race relations just by electing Barack Obama president. Because at every link in that chain of events that I just rehearsed for you, at every link in that chain, we white people have been there, reaping for ourselves and passing on to our heirs the tangible benefits of discrimination. Now, someone might object. I'm not a racist. I never owned any slaves. I never segregated anybody. I don't owe anybody anything. But let me ask myself, did I or my grandparents or great-grandparents ever attend a racially segregated school when the southern states were spending $4 to educate every white student compared to every dollar they spent to educate black students? If you went to a school like that, you benefited, and benefited in a way that you didn't earn, or someone did. If in this family tree someone went to schools like that, there was benefit that could be counted, usually in terms of income. Did I or my ancestors, my great-grandparents, ever own property when blacks were not allowed to? Property whose value could be passed on to descendants and thus create additional wealth. Did I or my great-great-grandparents ever have jobs from which blacks were excluded? Did I or my great-great-grandparents ever receive education or a mortgage loan from the GI Bill or FHA? New Deal government programs, usually thought of as liberal programs, but programs that mostly excluded blacks as beneficiaries of those programs. If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then I am a beneficiary of white privilege, and I have accumulated benefits that don't come to me because I have earned them. They come to me because I am white, and that they come